Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, Inside My Holes, where I talk about my struggles, having borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and panic attacks, depression. I talk about my narcissistic mother who physically and mentally abused me. I talk about my schizophrenic father. I talk about my unethical psychologist that raped me and exploited me. And I talk about all my different therapies and a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology. So I cannot diagnose you or give you a professional opinion. All I ask in return of you is please be kind to me, be kind to everyone else, and respectful always in the comments. We don't need to agree on everything, but we do need to agree on showing each other respect and kindness. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button, that box in the lower right-hand corner that says subscribe. That way you will be notified whenever a new video comes up. It's 100% free, and if you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. Today's topic is going to be how my traumatic childhood made me pick people that were abusive to me. Made me not choose the right people, made me not have boundaries, made me choose narcissistic and abusive people. I want to talk about the impact of having a traumatic childhood. It didn't set the way for me to make wise choices as an adult. The first role model a girl has of a man is her father. And my father had severe paranoid schizophrenia, which means that my father, he hallucinated, he saw things and he heard voices that wasn't real. He was psychotic, he was rageful. He could go into violent fits. He never hurt me. But one time he took a baseball bat to his brother-in-law's car and smashed his whole car. And this, my uncle told me this during his funeral, that he did this to his car. He had alcohol problems when he was younger, and he was a compulsive gambler, and he left home when I was a little girl, like two years old or under 2, for several years, having affairs on my mother. My mother was narcissistic, and when he left her with me, she locked me in the room, she beat me, she threw away all my toys, broke my toys. I did other videos on that, but that's not what I'm trying to concentrate on in this video. I'm just gonna concentrate on this is how I was raised. This was the first male role model in my life, was my dad. Now, on the other hand, my dad was Jekyll and Hyde, because when he stayed on his medication and he saw a psychiatrist, my dad was the most calm, patient, like he had unbelievable patience. And funny, he had a sense of humor, and just really wonderful dad. He never laid a hand on me. He never criticized me. He always listened to me. Okay, my mother never listened to me. She'd throw things, she'd leave scars and scratches and bruises on me. My dad would never lay a hand on me. Never raised his voice at me. Always listened. This is when he was on his medication. Like, he was two different people. He was Jekyll and Hyde. When he was off his medication, he completely, like a light switch, changed into a crazy, like think of, have anyone of you seen the movie The Shining with Jack Nicholson? The Shining? When he was at that hotel and he took a knife and he was trying to get in the room by, putting the knife through the door. That's the one scene in the movie I vividly remember. That's how my dad was when he was off his medication. A lot of times he thought, he would say when he was on his medication, oh, you know what, I feel really well, I don't need this medication. He didn't realize it was the medication that was making him feel well. And so he didn't want to be on it, because he told me when he was on the medication, it was like having a big, thick, heavy blanket, covering him. Like, it just dulled all his senses. So he couldn't really feel anything. It just dulled everything. Everything was dulled, and heavy. And he was tired and lethargic. And he didn't want to go through life being like that. He wanted to have all, his senses not be dulled down, right? It's like having earmuffs on, you can't really hear, the sounds are very muffled, it's like having, glasses that, when you wear someone else's glasses and you put them on, you really can't see because they're not your prescription, right? It's like putting on someone else's glasses and everything's hazy, and like wearing big earmuffs and the noise is dulled down. It's like, so that's why he didn't want to stay on the medication. That was powerful medication he was on. But I never knew from one minute to the next what daddy I was going to get. Was I going to get the nice, calm, kind, funny, great sense of humor daddy that would listen to me for hours, that went to the Red Sox baseball games with me, that took me to the beach, that took me out to Italian restaurants for dinner, that took me horseback riding, that laid in bed with me and listened to me? Or was he going to be the psychotic daddy who, said, they're out to get us, they're going to kill us, call the FBI, like who talked way, way out, who just went, flipped out? I never knew. And so this is what I grew up with. And because of that, the life choices I made, I ironically was re-traumatized by two psychologists, Dr. Richard Geist and Dr. James Barberia, who basically were much older men, and I was sexually abused by both of them. And I was never sexually abused by my dad. But with Dr. Richard Geist, he would be like my dad on the medication one minute. He'd lay on the floor with me, let me sit in his lap, go to the park with me. He went to the park with me and laid in the grass, threw a football. He had me in his home. So he'd let me call him in the middle of the night. He invited me to his vacation house in Maine, gave me the house number there, told me to come and visit him. And then the next minute, he like a light switch, he'd never return my calls, he never returned my emails, he lied and gave my session away to another patient, telling me that he had to drive his daughter to basketball practice at that time. And then I went to his house at that time, and I saw another patient go in where it was supposed to be my session. And I told him, you told me you had to drive your daughter to basketball practice. Well, I didn't have to do it every week. Well, if you didn't have to do it every week, why didn't you tell me the weeks that you didn't have to do it so I could have my session? Why did you give my session over to another patient and lie to me, telling me you had to drive your daughter? So it just became, I went to his house drunk one time, and he let me drive home. And I drank half a bottle of vodka, okay? And I told him, I'm saying, I drank half a bottle of vodka, I'm drunk. Oh, be careful, bye. So it was just like with my dad, there was, like a light switch. You could turn from one way to the other way. And I thought this was love. Why? Because I grew up, my dad was like this. This is what I knew as a child. This was love. This was what my normal was, okay? This was what, not other girls, people who lived in healthier households. It's not what their normal was. But this is what my normal was. So I felt comfortable in that kind of chaotic, crazy making environment. Of course, I had my husband. My husband was very consistent. He was the same. He wasn't like, turn off and on, split personality like that. My husband was always loyal, faithful, devoted, and consistent. But I thought, I don't love my husband, because that's not what love is. That's not what love was when I grew up. And I thought my husband I called my husband a stick in the mud, because I was bored with that, because it wasn't what I knew growing up. I thought normal was boring. And this can happen to you if you've been raised in an abusive environment. You can meet nice guys, right? Guys that would treat you with the utmost respect and kindness. And you can turn those guys away because you feel like there's no spark. They're boring. They're dull. They're sticks in the mud. And then you end up with someone who's narcissistic and abusive to you. And then you say to yourself, well, you know what? I only have bad luck in love. But you're not really seeing subconsciously what you are doing. Subconsciously, you are repeating your past traumas, okay, that you grew up with, hoping to, correct them, have a corrective experience. Now, that's supposed to happen in therapy, and it didn't happen in therapy with me. Therapy is supposed to be a corrective experience, okay? So that the therapist is supposed to show you what relationships, healthy relationships with consistency, respect, and boundaries are all about. But I was re-traumatized in my therapy, and so I never knew from therapy I never had a restorative therapy where I just got re-traumatized in my therapy. I ended up having a 2-year sexual relationship with Dr. James Barberia, no boundaries. Dr. Richard Geist encouraged me to have that relationship. Well, it's not a relationship, it's rape. It's statutory rape, and I did another video about that, but I don't want to go into that. But looking back on my choices, and yes, I take responsibility that I stayed in these abusive therapies, and I take responsibility for it. But now I realize why I did it, and now I know that I'm attracted to these type of men, and that instead of being attracted to my husband, who is stable, secure, consistent, faithful, loyal, why I find that dull and boring, because that's how I grew up. So now I'm aware of why, the reason behind it, okay? The reason behind, if I've been in therapy so long that I've become psychologically minded, and I have analyzed myself, and I realized the choices I made and the reasons behind the choices I made. So now I just am content with peace. And peace is wonderful. Before, I thought peace was boring, you know. I'd rather have these guys that, were narcissistic and, and abusive to me. But now I realize that peace is an understatement. Having someone that's loyal and consistent in their actions, that's what's important to me now at almost 60 years old. It took me all that time to get there because I never learned that in my therapy, because I had unethical psychologists, so I never learned that. But you can learn that too. You can see it, look and see if you have a pattern, okay, with the people that you choose in your life. Is there a pattern there? Do they cheat on you? Do they abuse you? Do they gaslight you? Do they ghost you? Do they breadcrumb you? Look and see, is there a pattern with each relationship that you're in? And it isn't because all guys are jerks or you're just unlucky in love. It's because you're subconsciously choosing these people that represent someone in your past. Most likely your dad, if you're a girl, or most likely your mom if you're a guy. You're choosing these people and repeating history with them. And once you realize that, you can change, because you can see, the next person that you're attracted to, oh, no. Yes, you're attracted to them. Yes, they excite you. But that's not what love is really about. Let me tell you what love is about, because I found out really late in life, like at 59. It isn't who, makes your heart beat faster. It isn't that what wets your panties or gives you an erection if you're a guy. It's someone who makes you feel safe and secure, okay? If this person you're with makes you feel safe and secure, you found your person. If this person just gives you erections or wets your panties, that's all they do, that's not your person, okay? That's not what love is. That's lust, And that's what so many people mistake it for. They mistake lust and think it for love. I said that wrong, right? They mistake love for lust. I'm always saying things backwards. No, wait a minute. You know what I mean anyway, right? They think they're in love, but they're really, it's just really lust, okay? You can't, just because, that's what I did with Dr. James Barbaria too. He was so handsome, and I was hot for him, okay? And he was an Italian like my dad. He was very similar to my dad, the one I had sex with for 2 years. Both Italians, both skinny men. My father was about 5'8" or something. Jim was 5'9", skinny, dark eyes, jet black hair like my dad, and he had a temper, and he turned hot and cold too. One minute he could be, charming, and then the next minute he could just be totally distant and removed. And I just, I felt magnetized by him. I got excited being with him. I was really turned on. But that's not what love is. One time I was so turned on by Dr. Richard Geist, he was sitting across from me, okay? He was sitting on the couch across from me. And I was getting wet. I'm not kidding you. I was getting really wet. And I told him, you know, I'm not even near you. I'm not even touching you, but I'm really getting wet. And I said, let me show you how wet I'm getting. And I took off my top, my bra, and then I took off my panties. And I went over to him. He was on the couch. He always wore his sleeves rolled up. And I wiped my panties on his arm, you know. And then I just, bent down right there over him, totally naked. I thought this was love, you know. I don't get like that with my husband, you know. I don't, not at all. So I thought, oh, I can't stop thinking about him. I'm madly in love with Dick and Jim, and but see, it really wasn't, and I had to learn the hard way. So look at that yourself. Look into, look at your past, and now look at the people you've been with or are with, and then do a little analogy between the two. Are the people you're with like someone from your past, like one of your parents? They don't have to look like them or even have the same personality. That's not what I'm trying to say. They can be totally opposite, but do they have the same traits? Are they both like narcissistic? Do they both ignore you? See, I'm not talking about looks or personality. That's not what I'm trying to tell you to compare. What I'm trying to tell you to compare is how do they treat you? Do you feel the same? Do you feel small like one of your parents made you feel, like inadequate or shameful? Do you feel like that when you're with them? That's what I'm saying. Look out for how you feel, because it's from your past. And so once you realize that pattern, you can finally change it, and like I did, and then it'll change your life. It will. All right, till next time, let me know in those comments. Love the comments. Keep the comments up. I hope this wasn't too graphic a video for some of you guys, but if you read my books, don't buy my books unless if you don't like graphic details like I just did in this video. Do not buy them, because my books are very graphic. Just to warn you. Okay, until